Hey everybody, welcome to Better at Beach. My name's Mark, and you're about to watch a video that is going to dive really deep into attacking from the right side. So Joe sends us some videos and we schedule a private lesson with each other. It's a private video lesson and we have that on betteratbeach.com. But what we do is we go through 30 minutes of his video, his gameplay, and we talk strategy, we talk technique, and we talk mindset. In this video specifically, we're gonna talk about offense, everything that has to do with offense from the right side. If you are interested in signing up for something like this, go ahead to betteratbeach.com/store. We are going to link it right below. Also below, you're probably gonna see a Teespring shelf. So if you want some sweet Better at Beach swag, go ahead and look through all of those shirts and items. We got teacups, we got towels, leggings, shorts, and shirts. So I hope you enjoy this video. Again, we dive really deep into attacking from the right side. Joe has come a long way since he started with us, and recently, since I've come out to train in Utah, I decided to play a couple of tournaments with him, and we took 2 seconds in open tournaments. So he's come a super long way, and these private video lessons, a lot of people tell us that they get more from these private lessons than they actually do from live practices, because you get to sit down, you get to see yourself and know exactly where you are and what you're doing wrong. And it usually surprises you, all of the movements that you do on camera during the game. When you watch it on video, it's usually pretty surprising to know that you thought you were doing something right, but you're actually not doing that skill. So I encourage you to film your own videos, your own practices, your own matches. And if you ever wanna hit us up for a private video lesson, go ahead and find that link below. Enjoy, it's all about attacking from the right side.
I don't think you repositioned anywhere to put yourself in a great position here. Because right now, your setter should be thinking, where's my partner? Where's his right arm? So his job should be to set here. But because you passed somewhere that you didn't like, now you're running towards your partner at a diagonal. So he's locating your right arm straight in front of you in comparison to the net. And now you're changing that line of approach. I don't know if that makes too much sense, but you're going in and he's aiming where you are on the net.
Yeah.
Right. So now you might have to adjust unless you're like actively calling here for middle. But in that case, then you should have slid over to middle and then came forward and attacked.
Like with a lateral shuffle.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So, and that's exactly what happened, right? You came forward, your partner located you. So he's pushing to your right arm, but because you're coming in a diagonal, see this move? Bang. He set where he should have, but you were coming in and either you didn't talk to him. I don't have the sound here, but either you didn't talk to him. Well, it's got to be it. Probably you didn't talk to him and say middle, or he just felt where your right arm was and he set where he should have, but you're coming in. So now you have to make this big jab step here. Pop back. Coming out.
Now this was our first session playing together, first night actually. And most of the time when I play with my other partner, we kind of have this discussion and maybe it's right or wrong, but we keep that set the same distance. So if I pass more to the left, I'm still coming to him at that same distance. And so that's probably why I broke that way. Traditionally, I play more left side than right side.
Okay.
So I know that approach on the right side, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is more straight at the net versus like a left side where you're trying to keep that court in front of you. So you kind of most of the time take that step out.
Well, what we want to do, and you've seen a bunch of my videos, but we want to make sure that our right arm has the required space to hit because we want our partner set our right arm. We want the ball to end up on our right arm.
Okay.
So when you say that I'm setting the same distance, like if the setter sets the same distance, totally fine with that. That's called a relationship set, right? He's going to set a certain relationship from his body instead of a fixed point set where he's choosing one spot on the net. That's a fixed point set. Somebody like Alisson from Brazil, they run that type of set where they hit from the outside every single time,
Every time.
no matter where the pass is.
Okay.
If you're running that relationship set, which is perfect, and it's what a lot of the World Tour does, you would first have to move to him laterally.
Okay.
So that you can come forward, because if you stay out here, no matter what, he's setting on the left side of your arm, and now you're going to have to make that big wrist away move while diving. It's okay to make a wrist away move while staying up tall, but when you have to dive in just to make that happen, you're going to be weak. So if you do pass him over there and you want to run that relationship set as a right side, you have to be in line with your setter. So that he just pushes it lightly and you go straight forward towards the net, not a diagonal. And then you do almost the opposite here. So now he's setting. He should be tracking your right arm right now. You moved further away from him, so you created more of a difficult set. And he should be tracking your right arm. So he should, if he's like really tracking you at this moment, even though you moved a lot, he should set here, which he actually does. So your setter right now is really like, he knows where you are, and he's setting the correct spot.
And my thought process: pass, take that lateral step, and then approach. Where now it's, I just need to take that kind of straight shot, unless I pass him more on his side, then take that shuffle towards him, like you just said.
Well, can we just rethink the way we think about that? And that, like, when we pass well, it's always a left shuffle, whether you're on the left side or the right side.
Okay,
if you pass to where you want, no matter what, after the hit, if we pass perfect, we're always going to shuffle left.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So we can sort of reframe it just like that. We don't have to do opposites or anything. It's just always shuffle left. Okay. We'd rather not end up like that. That's a bit of a tell. Sure. But we had like a low loopy set as well. Skip that. All right. No movement after the pass again.
Yeah.
And if we watch some pro matches, there's almost always some sort of readjustment after a pass. Right. And since you passed the middle here, this is a really good pass. You want to be close to him. At the World Tour level, this would turn into a potential jump set into a speed to the antenna, right? But you're not on a speed route here. You're still running like a normal tempo. So I'd say you got to make sure that you're moving to him, because right now you're just stable. Oh, God. So here, there's no space on your right arm, really, because that antenna is blocking it. Yeah, so everything's going in. And that's not the worst situation in the world, but it's not the best. Especially when you have a perfect pass there. You got a perfect dig. So now you should be in your best possible hitting location, and you should be in line with this guy, and you should definitely be at 3/4 behind half court while he's setting.
Yeah. That approach we talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, see how you have to reach in a little bit because you feel like this ball is over your left ear.
Yeah.
So that's a tell right there. As soon as I see that elbow, the hand come across the face and the elbow up high, I know you're bringing it that way.
Okay.
Right. This is one of the most readable positions in beach volleyball. As soon as I see your elbow high and your hand across your face, you're going back to this arm, and it's going to be slow, not powerful. So easy for me to say, like, all right, I'm peeling, and this defender should have shifted already. Like if he was a really great defender, he would be moving towards the middle already.
Just more seam.
Yeah. Now. So yeah, your angle is finally built, and the ball's 3 feet from your platform. A little too late. Okay. No movement after the pass. So now we're forced to have this big arcing set. There can be advantages to that, but in the beginning, right now, I'd rather you have a base of getting in line, making sure that you have to do footwork after the pass, and then coming in for the hit.
By footwork, you're speaking to that shift left?
Yep. Oh, look at that. And you keep trying to come in on that angle when your setter has already lined you up. So this is the second time we've seen the same move. When you have a pass that's pretty in system, like a 10-foot pass in the middle of the court, that's still reasonably in system, so we should make it look more in system.
Yeah.
But this jab step out, that's going to affect your power and what you have to do for vision. And that's the third time we've seen your hip totally committed with no torso rotation. We'll take a note on that. What I mean by that is that's the third time that this hip is, the right hip is really far forward. So it's difficult for you to generate torso rotation for power.
And if I take that more straight on approach, take that left step in the straight on approach, I'm going to have that option, right? Because I mean, right now with me stepping out, I'm almost coming straight in, and with the only rotation I would get would be like that real steep angle, which unless it's on, like I won't be able to hit that.
It's just harder from this position. Both positions you can do it. It has to do with where your feet are planted on takeoff, and it has to do with how your body rotates. Like if you're sitting in a chair right now, your hips should be locked. If you can rotate your torso there and then snap, that's where you want to be as a hitter. Okay. But you don't want your hips and torso coming together at the same time, because then there's no rubber band, there's no snap. Okay. Right? So your hips should lock, but right now your torso should be rotated back so that rubber band stretches, the oblique rubber band stretches, and then you fire.
Then I fire through it.
Yeah. So that'll take some work, but let's focus a little bit more on offensive design for a little bit before we get to exact biomechanics of attacking. Now. Yeah, see, it's with the approach that you're taking in the lineup, you haven't had an attack where you can come straight forward in an unbroken line and use all of the momentum that you've generated laterally to spike, right? Because you go forward for 2 steps here, 1, 2, and then you dart out again. Mm-hmm. So if you're closer to him, it's going to be easier for him to be accurate, and it's going to be easier for you to know exactly where that set's going to end up. Because from the last 4 approaches that we've seen, it looks like you're guessing in a pretty large area where it might be, and you're guessing wrong. Yeah. Because we're guessing like middle-ish, and then you dart out to the side. So you've got great feet to ball. Now, if we can just not aim in the wrong direction, your feet to ball combined with a little bit of offensive design, you're going to be a real threat in system. Okay. But right now, you're just anticipating that the ball is going to go in the wrong area. And I think if you just shift over, make sure that you can move in a straight line, the setter has a smaller window to aim at, and then you know that your feet have a smaller window to aim at. And then you won't have to do this side-to-side move. So here it is again. Your hips and shoulders are completely matched. Your right shoulder and your back should be opening while your hips stay. And that should allow you to torque that power. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, something I got to work on for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we see it with like pitchers and quarterbacks where their hips come all the way through, but their hand is still back. Like you've seen pictures in Sports Illustrated of pitchers where their left foot is down, but their right hand is still way behind their head. That's the position that you'd like to be in, where your torso or your right shoulder is way behind your right hip. So there's lag, stretch, and fire. Stop running away. Yeah. So that'll be one of those things that like during this video, because we can't control it and we can't change it right now, that it'll just be on repeat. So you'll have this video, but if you could write that down and pass, if you're playing right side, pass, shuffle left, be straight in line. One good key is to have the ball on the outside of your left shoulder. So wherever you pass to, if it's in the front 10 feet of the court, you're going to move so that where the person is setting, where your person, so that like right here.
Mm-hmm.
So your left shoulder right now should be like lined up with his toes, and you should be going perpendicular to the net.
Oh, no, that tight, huh?
That'll be a good start. At
Okay.
least you have
A lot of room to move.
Yeah, and at least you have a base there. Because if I start saying like, between 3 and 5 feet, like I'm going to start you saying like, hey, make sure that ball is brushing the outside of your shoulder to start your approach.
Okay.
And then he'll give it maybe 2 to 3 feet of push, and then you'll have a lot more vision, and you'll be going in a direct line for your approach instead of out.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed a lot of times I'm taking these big lateral movements out. I'm not taking the looks. I'm so worried about shifting out that it's like, okay, hurry, get here, now find the ball. And at that point, you'll see coming up. It's just like I'm not really taking that look like we talked about when we're loading.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might help with having that pause in that direction, like going straight in.
Yeah. I know it will. Okay. Yeah, so right shoulder still stays pretty even with the right hip. There's a little bit of opening here, right? And that's why you're able to sort of snap it, where that right shoulder complex got a little bit behind your right hip, but not where we want it to be.
Okay.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. If you get that option for a kill, man, like if you're in a championship game, if you're practicing and you want to work on your side out, like make your partner set you. But if you're playing for something here and you're trying to win, he has not been stopped on 2 yet, and you've passed perfectly for that option. So if they ain't going to play defense on it, you keep going. They're going to get mad, and they're going to start yapping, calling you like a co-ed team, and you're going to be up 13-6, and they're calling you a co-ed team.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh. No problem with that. No problem with that. Yeah, you got him to hit right in your hands. And I like that your defender stayed in the angle. Good jump back in. Way to see it. This guy's got a good swing.
Yeah, he should. He's played on the AVP.
Is that Hillman?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Yeah, so that's where your passer is. So you need to be with that left shoulder on the ball.
Okay.
All right, so do it just basically. Sorry, my back's a little tight. When you can do it in warm-ups. Have him toss to you, you pass, and then just move to him to line up your left shoulder. Just do that 10 times, just to prime that movement. Before he sets, move to him, then straight. And feel what it's like to never move at a diagonal when you're in system from the right side.
Okay. I like
that'll be simple enough. All right. We are going to get out of this position. Right, that right hip locked on the net. We're going to say that next time you're going to be 5 out of 10 instead of 9 out of 10 in that position.
I like it.
One thing that I've been going for recently, and I want you to bring this into your next match, is do not go into your attack with a completely open mind. In other words, when you pass, don't go up thinking, what should I hit? What should I hit? What should I hit? What's open? Hit that. They did a lot of testing on like fighter pilots and simulations, and the more decisions that they had to make when their decision tree was complicated. In other words, they know that there's maybe 20 different possibilities, but if you start from 0 and there are 20 different possibilities and you have to end up at 1, you get so caught in those that you make a lot of mistakes because you get caught in the decision process. Mm-hmm. So instead, we want to make a series of binary decisions. So when you're coming in to hit for the next few weeks, look at it and say, I am going to hit this shot this match. So you have one shot. The only thing is, unless they are here, unless the defender or the blocker is here, if they're there, then I'm going to X. So then you have your secondary shot. So now we only have 2. Okay. And then you have your trouble shot, which is your third shot. Right. And that should usually be like deep middle or short middle, something like that. Anytime you're off balance and you don't have your shot, select that. And you're going to be really surprised by how many less errors you make. You don't hit into the net. You don't hit out of bounds. You don't get blocked as much. And how much easier it gets. And you might think that it becomes predictable, and it will. But if you change it frequently enough, so if you go into the first 5 swings with, I'm going to hit cross unless X, and I have my bailout shot. You do that for the first half of the first set. And then before they catch on to that, then you switch your plan saying, I'm going to hit this shot, which is a different shot, unless this. And then I have my bailout shot. It makes your swing decision so much less complicated. And then you don't have to worry about like, yeah, I know you have 10, 12 different swings. Like you got short pokey, you got cutty pokey, you got over the block pokey, you got hard middle, you got hard line. But cycling through all of those in that moment, you freeze.
Yeah.
So attempt it for a match or 2 in practice and let me know how it goes. But say like, all right, for set 1, I am hitting this shot unless I see this. And then you have your second shot.
Right on.
All right. And then don't worry about the result. Even if the defender's like there because you have a blocker rule or the blocker's there because you have a defender rule, don't worry about that. Right, because again, you see you make that big jab step with your left because you don't really know where the set's going. You're kind of guessing in the area. And then that right hip is locked. Oh, because you're also going goofy foot. Oh, no, you're not going goofy foot. It just looks like you're goofy foot because your hip position. Yeah, I'm not sure why Hillman would even be. He's big, Jesus.
Yeah.
But there's no way he should be defending line here. I mean, with the way your body is facing, he should have his left hand on the ball and his right hand taking all of the meat of the court. Like you should be smothered, but he's leaving you some space. Yeah, if I kept seeing your hip turn that way, I would just play on the inside, play on the inside, play on the inside. I bet it's going to be, I'm curious to see if you get that straight line approach, if that fixes a lot of your hitting mechanics from the right side. Because your hips will be square to the net instead of square to the setter. And then you'll have a little bit more rotation. So just by lining up, you might open up a hard line shot that you haven't found yet.
Well, because I noticed when I hit left side and I come in on that angle, I have a lot more power turning that line, kind of that crossbody line, just, from that torque, that you're saying I'm lacking here on the right side to that approach.
Well, yeah, I mean, your body's meant to close things. We're weaker pulling than we are pushing. And this is a closing or nearly a pushing mentality because you're using that pec, right? That pecs are usually stronger than the rhomboids and delts and everything like that. So I wish we had a better view of it, but you can see here his hip comes forward, but you see that stretch from his oblique here and the way that his forearm like dips back behind his head as his elbow rotates forward. That's pretty good swing mechanics, and that allows him to go wrist away with power. All right, yeah, we want to see you have to be able to get rid of this giant lateral leap on, we're going to call like 80% of your approaches. You got that giant right lateral leap. It's nice to have that in your back pocket, but not to have to use it all the time.
Every single time. I know.
Yeah. Oh, man. Basically, build earlier when you go back. Put your hands in front of, in between your knees and elbows straight. That's number one. So start practicing your pre-pass routine to have elbows straight and hands between your knees. That's one.
Okay.
That should create an earlier build. So see if you can set your angle before the ball gets to the net. From there, everything is pass, and if it's in system, shuffle left so that your hips are a little bit more square to the net and not to your partner from the right side. And then that should give you more ability to hit on the right side, because if we keep ending up in this right hip forward position every time, we're not going to be able to give a lot of juice down that line.
Okay.
All right, so those are our main takeaways here. You have any questions besides that?
No, I think that's a great starting point. Look forward to putting it to use and then building upon it.
Yeah.
So one of many.
Do that. Have somebody toss to you. Pass to them. Move. Just approach and catch straight on. So practice making sure that you are not coming in at an angle, that you're going in straight from the right side on an in-system pass.